Sunday Baroque Conversations is made possible by the Friends of Sunday Baroque and is produced at WSHU Public Radio in Fairfield, Connecticut. I'm Suzanne Bona. Thank you for listening. Don't miss an episode of Sunday Baroque Conversations. Subscribe on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us a review. If you want to find out where you can listen to our weekly show, visit our website, sundaybaroque.org, for a station list and our 24/7 stream. Again, that's sundaybaroque.org. The Fischoff National Chamber Music Association has a mission to inspire lives through breathtaking performances. Founded in 1973 in South Bend, Indiana, Fischoff is now the largest chamber music competition in the world, and it's one of the most prestigious classical music prizes attainable today. Each spring, hundreds of musicians apply to compete in the live rounds on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. In 2020, Fischoff added a new initiative called Lift Every Voice. Josh Aerie is executive director of the Fischoff National Chamber Music Association, and he joins me on Zoom to talk about the organization and specifically about Lift Every Voice. And full disclosure, Josh is a very close personal friend and musical colleague. We make up 2/3 of the Sylvan Trio. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Suzanne.
So will you start by telling us a little bit about Fischoff in general and, the really basic stuff, like how was it originally established?
Sure. Fischoff is really a special thing that arose out of a special gentleman here in South Bend named Joe Fischoff. He was a furniture salesman, but also an avid violinist, and he looked out upon the world of chamber music, which he loved to play. And in fact, he established a small chamber music society right here in South Bend in the late 60s and early 70s. And he realized, though, that for younger up-and-coming ensembles, there wasn't really a clear path toward career success or even to start a career as a string quartet, for instance. And so he established the idea of awarding a cash prize to a young ensemble to help them on their way, if nothing else, to, say, fund a recording. And so he and his few friends in South Bend, Indiana, pooled some resources and presented the first Fischoff chamber music competition back in 1973. And it's grown from there into, as you said, a world-renowned competition where now we are welcoming hundreds of applicants every year and bringing, of those, 59 or 60 ensembles to campus for the semifinal rounds in person here at the University of Notre Dame. But I grew up as a cellist, knowing about Fischoff and having friends go off to compete. And I always assumed, this must exist in Carnegie Hall or maybe in LA somewhere. And so when I moved to South Bend, Indiana, some years ago, lo and behold, here was the Fischoff at the University of Notre Dame. So it has this wonderful legacy of both being the preeminent chamber music competition, but also rooted in good Midwestern hospitality.
So I know that you're, still relatively new with Fischoff. You only joined the organization in 2025. But I'm sure, because you and I both have been familiar with, people who are familiar with the classical music world have heard of the Fischoff competition. Who are some sort of famous, if you will, Fischoff winners?
Yeah, there are some really significant winners that have come out of Fischoff over the years. And the ones I remember best were my classmates, and I'll date myself a little bit here. But the two preeminent ones from back in that time were the Moreau Quartet and Eighth Blackbird, both ensemble mates of mine in my Oberlin days in orchestra, for instance. And how thrilling that they went to Fischoff and won. But since then, we've had everything from piano trios to saxophone quartets to string quartets compete and win. This year we have a mandolin quartet competing. We've had percussion ensembles with harp, all sorts. So to delve a little deeper into the structure of the competition, because it is unique in the sense that Fischoff offers two large divisions. One, the senior division, which is college and graduate level up to 35 years old. But we also have a pre-college or a junior division. So we have students here who are in high school, some even in middle school. I think this year we have an 11-year-old
Wow.
competing in an ensemble who come and experience Fischoff and have the chance to win one of our prizes. We have gold, silver, and bronze medals, as well as some other prizes throughout both senior and junior divisions. And then within that, we have the winds division, which includes winds, brass, and percussion. And we have strings division, which includes strings and piano. And then, from there are many different kind of sub opportunities which we can talk about throughout the competition time for our competitors to get involved and meet each other, meet the jury,
Hmm.
which are significant and important musicians in their field,
Hmm.
but then also do some community outreach on our behalf.
I love that. You've actually given me the perfect segue because the next question I was going to ask you about is some of those judges, because they really are luminaries in the musical world. And once again, I feel certain that many listeners, not necessarily everyone, but many listeners will have heard of a lot of these musicians. Could you just give us an idea of who's sort of currently on the jury?
Yeah, and in fact, if folks want to go on the Fischoff website, fischoff.org, they can see the current jury slate. We've got a number of them there. There are three or four per division. So there are 14, 17 jury members, plus a whole screening committee that selects the ensembles to come to Notre Dame. But yeah, over the years, we've had just again preeminent musicians, everyone from Paul Katz to Joshua Bell, to sitting on our jury, and our artistic director Tom Rosenberg, a cellist himself, who's been with Fischoff now 46 years, unbelievably, does a wonderful job of certainly choosing and selecting the jury, but cultivating relationships with these fine musicians over time, and keeping them in the Fischoff sphere, bringing them back every so often. And so that jury pool in some ways is like family. These are folks that love and appreciate Fischoff and love coming and being a part of the competition.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to say, one thing that really jumped out at me when I started preparing for our conversation today is the mission statement of Fischoff, and it's pretty simple, and yet it's actually very, very powerful in its simplicity, and it's inspiring lives through breathtaking performances. I would love for you to expand on that a little bit, including, I'm sure, at least some of that outreach that you alluded to a couple minutes ago. How do you do that? How do you inspire lives through these breathtaking performances?
Well, isn't that what music is all about? I
Yeah.
think it is about inspiring lives, and I would go so far as to say, even if a performance isn't necessarily breathtaking, it can still be inspiring. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, Fischoff aspires to excellence and chamber music excellence specifically. But to your point, that mission pervades so much more than our competition and the weekend that is all of the competitors coming here to campus. It pervades all of the community outreach and music education programming that we do all across the year. And I'll talk more about that in a second. But it certainly pervades too the gold tour outreach that we do. Our winning ensembles and the gold medal rounds go out and perform over the course of the year throughout the world, actually, as well as do some workshops and master classes at different educational institutions from elementary school on up. But one thing that some people find surprising is that Fischoff has such a robust educational program that goes on day in and day out, pretty much all throughout the year. And some of that involves our competitors and winners, especially as I mentioned, when they come back here after winning, they some have residencies in various schools here across the Midwest. But we're also involved in presenting chamber music opportunities here for local students through our academy and summer intensive programs. Both of those are for middle and high school chamber musicians. We also have the Arts in Education Residency Program, and this is an award that's given to a mid-career ensemble selected every year. They come back to the area and they create a skit, so to speak, that connects with a children's book. And this children's book is given to 4,000 to 5,000 school kids. And they go, the ensemble then goes out, the winning ensemble goes out and performs this musical skit. They've joined music to parts of the children's book, they wear costumes, the whole thing. So they're introducing the joy of music, the joy of performing through a literacy component, which is really exciting and powerful. And so back to the mission statement, that idea of inspiring lives through breathtaking performance happens at so many levels through Fish Off. It's something I'm really proud of. And to be honest, I wasn't aware of the full scope of it before I started to learn more about this job. But since 1995 or so, when Fish Off began this large-scale educational programming, we've reached way over 100,000 students just in this area, and thousands more across the country.
Wow. That is extraordinary. And, it's so interesting because as you were talking about these various programs and initiatives, I was thinking about how it really serves a couple of outside additional functions. Like, for example, we talk about wanting to feed the pipeline, if you will, of and getting people engaged in music, whether it's playing music or appreciating music or both. And what a perfect way to do that, right? This is in Fish Off's best interest, right? To get people into that pipeline, to help people fall in love with music. But it's also a really wonderful service to those professional musicians, those winners. Because as you and I know, it's really important for performers to be able to talk about their craft and to be able to communicate it and to be able to bring people into the fold and welcome them and to do the research and then be able to communicate, whether it's on layman's terms or on a more professional level, with the audience. And so what a great service you're doing. I have encountered over the years, a number of really fine, exceptional classical musicians who are very, very uncomfortable with the idea of talking about their music. And audiences pretty universally say how much they appreciate and enjoy that kind of, introduction, that kind of shepherding through the process. And so I think that's great. What a great service Fish Off is doing in providing that training and that guidance for the performers as well as for the lucky recipients of those performances. So yeah, bravo.
Yeah, thank you. That does bring up the point that we see the Fish Off competition as an educational component, right? This is our way of giving stepping stones to ensembles into a career of chamber music, and that includes certainly prizes and money and concert opportunities, but to your point, includes a little bit of training and mentoring, both while they're here at the competition. They have the opportunity, all competitors have the opportunity to engage in different programs to present some educational outreach, as well as potentially have their own master classes with some of the jurors. So really, we want to pave that way and give tools to these young ensembles to go out and better present themselves as articulate and passionate, of course, chamber musicians. So again, something near and dear to my heart, and as you and I have done many times in the Sylvan Trio, it's a joy to talk to the audience and
Right.
feel that there's some connection there beyond the footlights.
Right, for sure. Let's talk specifically about Lift Every Voice. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. And I also know it predates your time with Fish Off, but I know that you're also very, very well versed in this. How and why was Lift Every Voice established? I know it goes back to like 2020, 2021. And what are the parameters? What is Lift Every? What is the mission of Lift Every Voice within the mission to inspire lives through breathtaking performances?
Yeah, so to my understanding, Lift Every Voice, the title of our initiative began as, back in the day of the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement in the pandemic era. And as folks at that time looked over what Fishoff did, they realized that they could do more um, to influence, to support music that is by underrepresented composers. So things, didn't sort of spring up from nothing. It was a process of introspection, I think, on behalf of Fishoff leadership at that time. Again, very much of the era of thinking about how to present um, a diversity, equity, and inclusion across the organization. But wonderfully, that quickly got underway and evolved into um, what we now know as the Lift Every Voice initiative. And quite simply, it's a mandate in our competition that all senior division players in both the winds and strings division include as part of their competition repertoire at least 8 minutes of a piece by a historically underrepresented composer, so composer of color or woman. And those pieces are presented, as are all the other repertoire in the first round, via video. And so the Lift Every Voice jury goes through all of those videos and selects from those pieces submitted for Lift Every Voice the winners in each division, in the senior winds and the senior strings.
Mm.
So actually, in a way, the prizes are determined before the ensembles actually get here and compete on campus. But then the award is presented along with an opportunity to perform on our main stage on the final day as part of our final concert.
Mm. Wow.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
so it's an interesting process, and it's been interesting for me to learn how this evolved over the past few years, and how it's come to uh, be at the core, really, of I think what Fishoff needs to continue to do, which is to expand the canon of chamber music,
Yeah.
to find ways to support and elevate music by historically underrepresented composers.
Yeah. So I like to say it's as though, in the classical music world, we have fished in a very, very small pond for a very long time. It's a wonderful pond. It's a well-stocked pond, but it's not the whole pond. And it's really important to go outside that, to know that we really are experiencing true excellence. Because if you haven't experienced the rest of the pond, you don't really know if you've got the best fish in the pond. um, I love that. You've just alluded to something, and I want to sort of double back. And also I have to say I'm very impressed by, and I love the fact that Lift Every Voice is not sort of some separate thing. It's like it's part of the lens that one is looking through when you're judging some of these competitors. I think that's terrific. I think it's really important, and it's just seems like a no-brainer, actually. But you made a comment about the, sort of as people advance through the competition, they're performing in front of a live audience. So there's a little bit of pressure when they get to that level. Is there a way for people to see performances? Like who is in those audiences? And can they see these performances even if they can't get to South Bend?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. Absolutely. So first of all, of course, we welcome everyone to South Bend. Stop in to the Bartle Performing Arts Center, University of Notre Dame. The competition runs every Mother's Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All of the events, all of the rounds, and things that go on all day, every day are free. So no tickets required. But if you can't make it to South Bend, definitely tune in to our live stream. And the live stream begins on Saturday morning and covers all of the quarterfinal and final rounds, and then the final concert, award ceremony, and Lift Every Voice concert. And that begins 3:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon Eastern Time.
Mhm.
Also, if you are so inclined, you can see a produced concert version of that final event on our local PBS affiliate, WNIT, later on in the summer. And they put that up on their site, I believe, as well. But the live stream is the way to go. You can tune in at any point, Saturday and Sunday, dip in and out. If you visit our website, fishoff.org, there's a link to the live stream there. It's on YouTube. And it's just really, really neat. It gives you a sense for Fish Off, I think, in a really wonderful way. We have interviews and segments to fill in some of the gaps as our ensembles are going through their rounds.
It's like the Olympics, the
Exactly.
Olympics for musicians.
That's right. And you hit on it, Suzanne. That's what I call this. The Fish Off is the Olympics of chamber music. There's so much more than the actual competition, than the actual feat of playing itself. There's so much humanity, so much beauty, so much backstory, so much to understand,
Mhm.
love about these young people coming to compete from all over the world here on our stage, be it virtual or in person.
Well, thank you also for making time at a very, very busy time for you. It's what is it like 9, 10 days to go until the competition starts for 2026. So thank you for carving out a few minutes to chat. I have been speaking on Zoom with Josh Aerie. He's the executive director of the Fishoff National Chamber Music Association based in South Bend, Indiana, and a wonderful friend and musical colleague. Thank you so much. This has been so informative and really inspiring.
Thank you, Suzanne, for me too.